Alright, let's look at the homework 1.3, problem number 6. Alright, just the domains. Right, so let's find the domain of f plus g, f minus g, and f of g, and f over g. Alright, so if you want to find the domain of each one, let's say we know that here f has a square root, so we have to make sure that whatever expression inside the square root must be greater than or equal to 0, non-negative. And the same way, so this guy has to be greater than or equal to 0. Alright, so we have 5 minus x has to be greater than or equal to 0. Alright, so we can simply add x to both sides. So we have a 5 is greater than or equal to x. Alright, so the same way, x squared minus 4 is greater than or equal to 0. Right, so this is a little tricky one. So pretend that this is equality. Let's do equality. So I'll use a different color. Say x squared minus 4 equals 0. And we know what to do. We can just factor it out. So x plus 2 and x minus 2 equals 0. Right, which will give us x equals plus or minus 2. Right, and I'm gonna use this number to create a number line. Right, so here's negative 2 and a positive 2. Right, then I'm gonna call this function, I'm gonna call this guy f of x. Right, so here f of x. Right, so we know that f of x becomes 0, right, at x equals negative 2 and also positive 2. Right, so we want to know where it's going to be positive. So what we have to do is just to use a sample number. So it's like a negative 3. So negative 3, so f of negative 3. Right, so negative 3 squared, 9 minus 4, so that's definitely positive. So we have a positive sign here. Right, anything between negative 2 and positive 2, so we can try 0. Right, but the 0 minus 4 is negative, so we have a negative sign here. And then anything bigger than 2, so I try 3, and 9 minus 4, again it's positive. Right, so we can see that it's positive or greater than or equal to 0, and negative 2 down and a positive 2 up. Alright, so we can find the alright, so from here, so we know that the first one, domain of f is x is less than or equal to 5. Right, and here from here, domain of g is either x is let's see, x is less than or equal to negative 2, or x is greater than or equal to 2. Alright, so the domain of f plus g is exactly the same as domain of f minus g, and the domain of f times g. These are all intersection of the domain of f and the domain of G. Right? So which means in this case, right, so it has to be less than or equal to 5, and maybe I'll write that in there. So let's see, I'm gonna use green here. So if you put the 5 here, right, so it has to excess of less than, so this is domain of F. Alright, so intersection would be something less than or equal to -2, right? So that will be negative infinity to -2, then bracket, right? Then also 2 between 2 and 5. Alright, so that's the domain of those three guys, F plus G, F minus G, F times G. Alright, how about the domain of F over G? Alright, and this is going to be almost the same as the domain here, alright, except that we have to eliminate the x value, which makes the denominator g of x equal to 0. Alright, in this case -2 and +2. So we just have to turn this into parentheses, so it's a negative infinity to -2, but we're not going to include -2, then not going to include +2, then you go to 5, but the 5's okay. Alright, so let's type this guy in. Alright, so domain of this guy is negative infinity to -2. Alright, then union sets, maybe union, oops, and then +2 to 5, and the same thing here, and then negative infinity to -2, and there's a union, and the +2 to 5, and this is the same, negative infinity and to -2, and the union 2 to 5. Alright, then last one, it's negative infinity comma -2, and the parenthesis, and the parenthesis 2 to 5 with the bracket. Alright, let's see if we got this one correctly. Alright, submit for testing. Alright, it came back and looks like we got the part A domain correctly, part B correctly, part C and part D correctly. Alright, that's it. I hope that this was clear.